Wizards of the Coast has announced a brand new product called Set Boosters. But what exactly does that mean? And more importantly, what's inside? Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. So, it looks like Magic the Gathering has a new style of product. This looks like it's going to be a permanent style offering, not a one-off style product. So the article that Mark Rosewater released for this product is pretty long, and I do want to go through it, but I understand that some people aren't interested in going through all of that. So I figure what I'll do is I have like the crib notes here of hopefully all the most pertinent details about these booster packs. We'll go through this list first, and then afterwards we will go through the actual article addressing everything, okay? So, Set booster packs. First of all, what's the concept behind them? Well, the idea is that draft packs are great for drafting, but you end up with a bunch of junk that you don't want when it comes to not being a drafter. Kind of similar to what they said when the collector boosters came along. So same kind of like, we're trying to pretend like we didn't know all along that draft boosters were a bad deal for you guys, and now we're just going, hey, we finally realized this needed to be addressed, but it really seems more like a symptom of the downturn where LGSs are kind of disappearing and there are fewer and fewer places to get in on a draft, so it's going to be harder and harder for Wizards to push the whole, we optimize our sets for draft, you know what I mean? It's got that kind of a vibe to it, but regardless of the reason they're creating it, let's break down what's in it and judge it on its own merits as an individual product, all right? So basically what's going on is you're going from a 15 card booster pack with one extra insert to a 12 card booster pack with 2 extra inserts. Now, similarly to the way that they broke down mystery boosters, they have different slots where different cards can appear, but some of these slots are grouped together. So in every pack, slot 1 is going to have an art card. And if you want to know what I mean by that, just take a look at the Modern Horizons art cards, where it's the same size as a Magic card, but it's just a glossy picture of the art, which admittedly, I actually really like. Okay, so that's the first slot. That's one of the 2 extra non-Magic cards that are in there. The second is the land slot. So for this set, this is going to be done first with Zendikar Rising. So this slot will hold full art basic land, since that is what Zendikar is known for, with a 15% chance of it being upgraded to foil. Now slots 3 to 8 are connected commons and uncommons. And that means these are all commons and uncommons that tie into each other in some way. So that is a big chunk of the pack, still being commons and uncommons. But when we get into the article, we'll address more how that's broken down. So that's the first 8 slots. Slot number 9 is what's known as the head turner. So this is supposed to be some big sort of like, wow, look at that card. So think along the lines of the showcase cards, for example, those amazing Storybook Eldraine cards. That's the sort of thing you'll find in the head turner category. There's a little more elaboration. There's more elaboration on all of this, so there's no point in even saying that. So number 10 and 11 are wild card rarity slots. And what that means is that you will just get 2 cards that could be anything. Could be common, uncommon, rare, mythic rare, foil, non-foil. So just 2 completely random slots in the booster packs, all right? Number 12 is your rare and mythic rare slot, which you have obviously in every regular booster as well. So that's the slot we're used to seeing there, no problem. Slot number 13 is the foil slot. So you're guaranteed at least 1 foil in every pack, but theoretically you could get up to 4 foils, right? If it turns out that the wild cards also turn out to be foils and you get a foil rare or mythic card. So you have the potential to get up to 4 foils. You have the potential to get up to 4 rares or mythic rares with these packs as well. The 14th and final slot is the other insert slot. This is where you'll see your token and advertisement cards. However, there is a 25% chance that it'll actually be replaced by another Magic card instead from a selected list. I believe they said 300 cards, but we'll get into that more specifically when we get into the article. So overall, those are the contents of the pack. Now, in terms of the booster boxes, they will come in 30 pack booster boxes, and there will be a price increase. Rosewater doesn't say anything definite about what that is. They're basically imagining around $1, but since they don't set MSRP and stores are kind of at the mercy of their distributors and other things, basically Wizards has thrown LGSs to the wolves by getting rid of MSRP. And so now there's no way to know exactly how much they're going to be charged. But at the bare minimum, just going off of what Rosewater says in the article, that's a 25% price increase at bare minimum over draft boosters. So you're going to be getting fewer cards and paying more money. The question is whether the content breakdown of the packs is worthwhile to you. So now we're going to take a look at the article. Well, I'm going to take a look at the article. We'll leave the booster pack image up on the screen because in all honesty, like putting this article in is going to be more hassle than it's worth. And I'm literally going to be saying what it says on the screen. So, I mean, I'm not doing a read along here. All right. So what is a set booster? One of the big shifts in R&D's thinking in recent years is the idea of adapting our products to the audience rather than making the audience adapt to our products. Wow, who would have thought that making products that specifically target what people want instead of products that we don't want and you say like it or lump it? Like, that is, we have to figure out who's buying our game and what it is they want and make products which can meet those needs. It's interesting to note that it took them this long to come up with this. It's kind of like we realized we were at the end of our run with our other nonsense. So it says, for example, take the Magic booster. For decades, there was only one version, and it was the only conduit into a new set. No matter what type of player you were or what you cared about, you had to enter each new set through the same booster as every other player. This is the booster we now call the draft booster. The problem with this method is that it means any restriction for one group becomes a restriction for everyone. You know, what's funny enough is that they were willing to like immediately go, oh, hey, look, we're going to make collector's boosters. And these are going to be nice, expensive boosters and whatever. But at the same time, they didn't introduce these and go, oh, you know what? Maybe we're just trying to reach as many audiences as we can. Well, I mean, we kind of want a lot of money. Let's be real. These guys, man. So, basically it continues, a lot of decisions about how a booster is put together are affected by how it'll draft. So no matter whether you drafted or not, you were affected by those choices. Even if those choices were not ones that made the booster experience better for you. Most people don't enjoy the majority of a Magic booster pack. It's real. Like, you just go, okay, what's the rare mythic? Is there a good uncommon in here maybe, or a foil? Okay, I'm done. You know, like they're not a super exciting experience for the majority of it. Except maybe when it's the first time you're seeing the cards, in which case the newness of it can kind of lend to that experience, right? So, it says, several years ago, this led us to ask the question, are there different types of boosters we could make that would excite a different audience than what our normal draft booster is aimed at? And it's just like several years ago, it took them this long to come up with this concept. The first booster to come from this line of thinking was the theme booster. It was more focused on a theme and usually restricted to one color, allowing the player who purchased it to get packs. You know what? Honestly, let me just let's skip to the bottom paragraph of this part. Because in all honesty, like, I don't want to waste your time with this just essentially like marketing language. All right. So we thought once we had 3 boosters we were done, but then we looked at some interesting data. We learned that substantially more than half of all open boosters are not used in limited play. That you just learned that now. Get out of here. It feels like a blatant lie. Now, obviously, I can't prove it, but it feels so untrue to me that they would just be like, you know what? We just realized now, so many people just open boosters and don't do it in draft. Really? Really? Like, get out. Just stop. This seemed like an opportunity. What if we made a new booster that was optimized to make opening boosters as fun as possible? Wow! It only took them, 30 years to think of making a booster as fun as possible? So let me get this straight. Collector's boosters aren't meant to be fun to open? Well, whatever. What if ripping open a booster could be more fun? All right, that's what set boosters are. It's marketing speak. All right. How does opening a booster, how does one make opening a booster more fun? This was the big question we had to solve. It isn't to say, by the way, that opening boosters currently isn't fun. They are. They're just not optimized to be as fun as possible. This is the absolute most fun optimization, according to them. You know what? I'm actually getting tired of reading this just straight up marketing nonsense. So let me just go straight up into the breakdown of this. Because honestly, we're going to make it really fun, guys. We thought it'd be fun to have fun. And you know, it's great and you're fun. Cram some more fun in there. Isn't that fun? F-U-N. That's how you spell fun, son. Let's get some fun in there. Fun in the sun. Are we having fun yet? This is more fun. Optimize it for fun. It's starting to annoy me. Okay, so to introduce the set booster, I'm going to walk you through the booster one slot at a time, just as you would experience it as you open it. With each slot, I'll explain what the slot holds. We begin with the welcome section, which has 8 slots. Its purpose is to welcome you to the booster. This is an amazing breakdown of multi-levels. Welcome to the welcoming area. Okay, so slot 1 is the art card slot. So in Modern Horizons, we introduced art cards. These were cards with full art on the front and card information on the back. They're not playable magic cards, just fun objects to have around or collect. They're popular with many of the players, art fans, story fans, collectors, so we've decided to have them return. Totally down with that. Zendikar Rising set boosters will have 81 different art cards. As I explained above, we want every slot to have the potential for excitement. So here's what we've done with the art cards. 5% of the time, rather than a normal art card, you'll get one with a gold stamped signature of the artist. Every art card exists in both its normal version and its signature version. Art is a big part of what makes Magic such a fun game, so we're happy to have this opportunity to celebrate our amazing art and artists. It also adds another collectible to the game, and history shows us we have a lot of players who love collecting things. Honestly, I'm not against this inclusion. I like the art cards, making some of them extra special for certain people by stamping an artist's name on there. I'm down. That's pretty cool. Moving on, we've got land slot, which is slot 2. Continuing the immersive experience of the welcome chapter. It's so grandiose. The second slot highlights, let me take you to the foyer of my set booster. And it's like, isn't every booster a set booster because they're from the set? Shut up! We're going to the foyer! All right, continuing the immersive experience of the welcome chapter. The second slot highlights the card type that best shows off the world, land cards. The default will be basic land cards in this slot, but that can change from set to set. Zendikar Rising has full art basic lands, so we want basic lands for this set. 15% of the time, the land in this slot will be foil. This being foil does not prevent you from getting a foil in the foil slot. And you know what? I just realized I might have actually misspoke when I said that the 2 wildcard rarity ones might be foil. So I might have to dial that back and say there's only 2 foils. But anyways, slots 3 through 8 are connected commons and uncommons. These slots are dedicated to commons and uncommons. In the draft booster, commons and uncommons exist in a certain ratio to ensure they have the proper reoccurrence for limited play. They're also color balanced to make the set draft properly. None of these are concerns for the set booster. So here's what we've done. We're using the commons and uncommons to show off something cool about the set. These 6 slots in each booster will be grouped in a way that each card of the same rarity will have something to do with the next card to it. Maybe the connection's a creature type, or the cards play well together, or they have some story element in common. We're experimenting with all kinds of connections. Part of the fun of opening this section of cards is trying to see what connection we've made. Now, there's a few other notes about this. These are the only slots for guaranteed normal commons and uncommons in the booster. All right, the rest of this is irrelevant. 2, every set booster is guaranteed at least 1 uncommon in these 6 slots, but each common has the potential to be upgraded to an uncommon. Woo, upgrades! And then they have all these different breakdowns like you're at a casino. 5 commons, 1 uncommon, 35% of the time. 4 commons, 2 uncommons, 40% of the time. 3 commons, 3 uncommons, 12.5% of the time. 2 commons, 4 uncommons, 7% of the time. 1 common, 5 uncommons, 3.5% of the time. 0 commons, 6 uncommons, 2% of the time. So it's weighted towards obviously loading you down with more commons as they benefit from dumping more commons on you, obviously. Slot number 9 is the head turning slot. And I mean, if you want the full story, read the article. You know what I mean? I'm trying to trim it down for you guys to just avoid as much of the glad handling marketing and just get to the actual information. So it says, now we ventured into the first slot of the fireworks chapter. All right, the goal of this chapter is to be splashy and exciting. You never know what'll turn up. Slot 9's always going to be a visually interesting looking card. What that means will vary from set to set. For Zendikar Rising boosters, it means you'll get a common or uncommon that's either a showcase card or a card that's a cool element of the set we haven't talked about yet. So I think this is a to be determined, like, we haven't gotten all the information about how this slot works because they don't want to tell us something about Zendikar Rising yet. So that will be determined later. After that, we've got wildcard rarity slots, slot 10 and 11. These two slots can basically be anything from common to mythic rare. It's possible to get showcase versions of rares and mythic rares in these slots. The common and uncommon showcase cards appear in the previous slot. So I guess there's some limitations to these wildcard slots. You can't get common or uncommon showcase cards from them specifically. Note that neither of these two slots is your rare slot, so any rares or mythic rares you get in these two slots are extra ones in the booster. The rarity of each slot is independent, so you have the potential to get 2 mythic rares here. Here are the percentages. Common, 2 commons, 49% of the time. A common and an uncommon, 24.5% of the time. A common and a rare, 17.5% of the time. Uncommon and uncommon, 3.1%. Uncommon rare, 4.3%. Rare, 1.6%. So it's saying this means that 23.4% of the time, so basically 1 out of every 4 packs, you'll open at least 1 extra rare or mythic rare in the set booster. So those are the odds for that. Now we venture into the Big Finish chapter with slot 12. It's the Big Furnish! This chapter is about guaranteed goodies. I mean, isn't all guaranteed goodies the most fun though, right? Whatever. This first slot here is your rare, mythic rare slot. This was the most exciting thing in draft boosters, so we couldn't get rid of that. Yeah, gee, you think? We couldn't get rid of the rare and mythic slot. We thought about it though. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Okay, so we've got a change that starting with Zendikar Rising, the mythic rares are changing their rate of drop. In the past, 1 in every 8 rares with a mythic rare. Starting with Zendikar Rising, that will be changing so that 1 in every 7.4 rares will be a mythic rare. And this applies also to draft boosters. So they're increasing the rate that mythic rares show up. That's all right, actually. I mean, that seems a little more pro-consumer, doesn't it? Where the mythics tend to be the most expensive parts of people's decks. So that is actually some good news coming out of this. Then we've got slot 13. This is the foil slot. So you just get a foil in every pack, and it can be any rarity. And slot 14 is the token add card / the list. So if you watched the video I put out earlier where some people saw the term the list over on MTG Finance and thought that that meant reserve lists were coming, and I reported on that, it turns out that the list does not reference the reserve list. So the chance of there being, like, I already said the chance of there being reserve list cards was really, really low in that video, but I'm revising my forecast to a virtual 0 now, as it seems like that was founded on hopeful speculation. All right, so I mean, that's why I said at the beginning it was a rumor. Now, we have what the actual list is. So how does the list work? Well, oh, hold on, let's see here. What is the list? One of the coolest parts of Magic is blah, blah, blah. We've chosen a list of 300 interesting cards from Magic's past. As with Mystery Booster, they'll be printed as they appeared, including art, frame, and expansion symbol. So it'll show the original expansion it came from. If it's an old card, it'll have the old school border on it. I do like that. And they will have that tiny little Planeswalker symbol down in the corner the same way that Mystery Boosters did to indicate that they are not the original printings and that they are reprints. So that's pretty funky. So the list has commons, uncommons, rares, and mythic rares, which will all fall at the proper rate to one another. So they're saying there will be far more commons and uncommons compared to rares and mythic rares, all right? And the cards can come from anywhere in Magic's history, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I do like this rand. It feels like Time Spiral when they included those purple time-shifted cards where there was just 121 different bonus cards you could get. That was pretty neat, you know what I mean? So they've shown like a couple counter spells, muscle slivers, like that kind of stuff in the imagery for the stuff you might see, but whatever. The cards mostly aren't that exciting to look at, so better to be surprised by them in the packs. All right, so the final little nitty-gritty where he actually gets down to some of the information that's really important to people. It says, first up, I should tell you set boosters are going to cost a little more than draft boosters. Yeah, maybe you should have said that at the beginning, but that's bad marketing. That's why we got so much like, everything's great in Funtown. Welcome to Funtown. The cost you get in the Funtown's more, just so you know. We thought it'd be more fun for you to pay more for less cards. Isn't that fun? So, first up, I should tell you, set boosters are going to cost a little more than draft boosters. We estimate about $1 more per pack, but it may vary from region to region. It will, unfortunately. Because you have the opportunity to open more rares per pack, you can open up to 4 rares or mythic rares. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to skip by this because this is them just trying to go, yeah, we're making you pay more, but here's why it's okay. It's like, no, people can make up their own minds on that, all right? Set boosters are going to come in 30 packs to a booster display rather than 36, and they will have a different design, obviously, as you've been able to see on the screen for the entirety of this video. They will only be available in English and Japanese to start with, all right? And they are going to give away one of these boosters for everybody who attends a Zendikar Rising pre-release, all right? So there is a note here at the end saying, this is the first attempt, this is experimental, so they may end up making changes depending on how things go. I mean, overall, for me, I don't like the fact that you're getting less. I don't like the fact that you're paying more and getting less at the same time. But I do like the concept of booster packs that aren't just mostly draft garbage, because the reality is they're optimized for draft sets really just equals them trotting out the same things over and over and over and using a pretty simplified template of here's standard this, here's the standard this, here's the standard this. That's why you'll see so many like little random Pegasus and stuff that give another creature flying when they attack, or like really standard things that we see over and over and over. And that way they get to sell us these packs where the only thing that matters in it is the rare and the mythic, really. They know it. And the rest is just like, it's optimized for an experience you're not going to be involved in. So I'm glad they're finally making a product to address that. I don't like the fact that you get fewer cards in it overall. That's not a good feeling because it doesn't cost them more money to print like rares and other things like that, really. I mean, unless you go, you know what, technically, actually, the little foiling they put on the rares does cost more money, so, you know, I just have to let you know, because I know people are in the comment section. But either way, this has been a lengthy chat about this product. Overall, I'm in the middle about it. I don't hate it, can't say I love it. You know what I mean? Honestly, a little bit what Wizards does with all their pricing models and all these millions of products leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. So, you know what? Maybe I'm a bit biased. Maybe I'm a bit jaded. So take that with a grain of salt. Make up your own mind. Just because I'm not hyped about something doesn't mean you can't be. At the end of the day, when I talk about this stuff, I just want to give you my opinion, but I'm not here like march lockstep with me, like think what I think or you're wrong. It's like, dude, it's your life. You're the one living it. And stuff that brings you joy matters, and that needs to be part of the equation. So make up your own mind on those products. I want to invite you to come on over and check out my other channel, which is my Dope Lore channel. Within 24 hours, I'm going to be dropping an amazing Karn lore video that is almost half an hour long. And it seems like people are really enjoying their time over on the channel. So you're welcome to come and hang out if you like good stories and Magic the Gathering, all right? Thanks for coming by. If you like what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe, helps the channel. And if you love what I'm doing here, well then jump on the Patreon and watch your name scroll by my blabbering face. Thanks for coming by, and I'm getting up on out of here.